So we're going to paint a sunflower painting today, and the first thing we do is get our base coat on there. And we made this base coat very thick. It's kind of medium thick, like a thick house paint. And it kind of finishes out as like a satiny finish. But the good thing about it is it has a lot of opacity, and you can put it on your panel and pretty much get coverage in one coat. Sometimes you got to go over and get a little touch up in it. But I put it on there kind of liberally because I like to see the brush stroke on there, and you can see how you can see those lines in the brush stroke. And to me, that's the way I like to paint, because it shows that, it's really painted by a human, and it's not perfect. And on these wood panels, I like to paint over the sides too, because it gives a nice uniformity. You don't have to frame these, and you can hang them right on the wall. So make sure you get all the sides covered. But we're going to begin working with the texture. And I like working with these bags because I get to control the paint really well. So you're just going to basically cut off the tip about 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch wide, put a nice dollop on the panel. And so this first portion is actually going to be for the petals of the sunflower. And I put about maybe a little less than 1/4 or 1/3 of the paint onto the cardboard palette. And I'm going to grab some of the Hansa Yellow and just start blending it in there. And I'm not going to get it completely dark yellow because I'm going to accent it with the actual straight yellow. I'm just going to get it nice and tinted. I'm going to get it fairly mixed. I'm not going to get it like 100% thoroughly mixed. And this way we have 3 contrasted colors. You can see the pile of texture there that has some white and yellow, light yellow. And now we've made like a nice deep warm yellow. And I'm kind of just laying out here where I'm going to put like 3 sunflowers. I'm going to put one in the upper left, one in the middle, and one there to the middle right. And you can see each time I'm rolling that knife and I'm getting a perfect petal. Make sure you get that right before you start going onto the wood panel on your palette. Practice a lot. And I'm just kind of pulling them all towards the center, kind of imagining there's a nice circle in the center. When it gets to a point, if you cannot kind of work upside down like I am there with the hand, turn the panel all the way around, because you'll find a point where it's comfortable to put that stroke in. I'm used to it. I've been doing it a long time, so it's not a big deal. So that's that point right there. If you need to, keep turning the panel around till it's comfortable for you to do it, because that upside down stroke is a little bit awkward, So I've created a full circle now of petals, but you can slow down and just keep making sure that you get that paint rolled onto that knife. Make sure it's smooth on the knife, because the smoother it is on the knife, the smoother it's going to be, and you're going to have that nice shape onto your wood panel. And I'm just going to keep this repetitive pattern for all 3 flowers until I complete all 3 of the yellow flower petals. And so again, I'm pulling a little bit of the darker yellow in. It's kind of harder to tell in the video, but it has a nice variegated tone between multiple shades of yellow and a little bit of white, and it just glows a little bit like that. And you can see here I like to go off the wood paint a little bit. I'm going to continue on with this 3rd flower, and I'm going to make sure I work my strokes in between the other flowers. And you can see how that petal just went in between the other 2 petals. Doesn't have to be that way, but I like kind of strategically to place those. And then we're about to come in here on this side and put these last petals over the side, so just be very methodical, and so they don't get too awkward going over the edge there. But it's always nice to show that texture hanging off the edge there. And we're going to work out of the bag, and we're going to pipe the center just directly into these nice spiraled centers, kind of, about 3/4 of an inch high, and spiraling out there with those. And we're going to use our knife to actually work the seeds in there with some black paint. And this part right here, again, when you're adding these tones of colors, is just do a little bit at a time, because you can really go too far, and then you're going to have this weird orangey black that's going to look awkward. But I just basically warming up that black just a tiny bit. Take the tip of the knife with a little bit of black, and we're just going to draw up those seeds. It's like we're pulling them up into the center. And when we pull up, we're just kind of making that seed shape. And this is kind of an impression of a seed. I'm not making a perfect seed. In actuality, none of this stuff is made to be organically correct. It's just all impressionistic. So occasionally, as you get too much of the other paint in there, the yellow mixed in there, you got to keep cleaning that knife off. So you have a nice clean knife, and just get it. When we put the black in, we're just using a little bit on the bottom of the knife each time. And we're going to use the Hansa Yellow directly out of the jar to mix with the black before we mix the white in there, so we know the true tone of green we want to get. And it's really interesting how that black, but you just do a little bit at a time, you're going to have this gray mud, but you can see it's going to start to turn green. And get the green foundation ready to go with the mid viscosity Hansa Yellow to get that green just the way you want it. And so now that I have my green ready, I'm going to, mix a little bit in with the white, and I'm not going to thoroughly mix it all the way, so I have a nice multi-tone feel to it. And I just go up into the sunflower and draw it in and just draw it straight down. And then once and pretty much trying to get that in one stroke too. And each time I'm trying to pull a little bit of that deeper green in there. And then I'm going to make a leaf, and almost the same as I'm making the flower petals, but I'm pushing a little harder for it to spread out a little bit wider and fatter. And just creating this leaf pattern coming down the stems. Just blending the deeper green in with the lighter green. I'm just going to keep working each stem and each petal as I go down, and I'm finding just openings and spaces where it makes sense to pop them in without overcrowding the wood panel with the leaves.